Well, in honor of my 5 years clean, which is today, 5/15/25, we're going to do something a little different. I posted this Let's Argue thing about a week or two ago. I let y'all comment it. There's tons of comments on there. Y'all loved it. So I picked a few that I'm going to try and argue or talk about. But most of them I agree with, guys. Like, y'all are on point. My community is the best. Like, there's really not much to argue, but I picked a couple out. Let's go. Hi, guys. Welcome to Lee Reacts. Hope everyone's having a good day. Bam. I know I am. I'm happy I'm 5 years sober. That's crazy, man. I guess I'll talk more about it afterwards, but, you guys know I have some thoughts. So let's get to it. Let's argue. I got the first one by Alan Clayton. In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson is the greatest debut album of all time. That's a hard one. That is a great album. We've actually listened to it on the channel. I love King Crimson, even though Frit blocks all the videos. I still love him. I love him to death. I don't know if In the Court is... I still like Starless probably is my favorite. I would say that's their best album. There was also another comment that said Boston, their self-titled, was the best debut of all time. It's kind of hard to argue what the best debut of all time would be. I don't know, but I think both of those are very strong frontrunners for the best. I don't know, man. Some of my favorite bands like the Beatles or Yes, their first album, they're usually strong, but not the best. King Crimson did come out swinging. That's very true, Alan. They did. That album is crazy. Like I said, I still go with I would go with Starless as my favorite. I'm trying to think of the best debut of all time is. From what I've heard, I'm trying to think of all the big ones like Bob Dylan. He had a great first record. Trying to think. There's some other ones from like the 80s and stuff. I don't know if Queensryche is Operation Mindcrime their first album. I don't think so. I'm trying to think of all the best albums, man. Yeah, there's not many debuts like that, so honestly, I might have to concede the point to you, Alan. You're right. I'll give it to you for In the Court, and for the person who mentioned Boston, that is a hell of a self-titled as well. The second one, oh man, I had it from Trajan6927. Roger Daltrey, the greatest badass frontman in rock who acts like a man. I don't know about that one, honestly. I love Roger. Roger is an excellent vocalist, an excellent frontman, and The Who are one of my favorite bands. I wouldn't say he's the best frontman, though. He's got a hell of a voice, hell of a presence. But I feel like, there's some underrated people that are, I don't know, not as big as Roger that would probably be a little bit closer, for in my taste at least, even though I love, he's great. He's definitely in the top 10 for me at least. I don't know, best frontman. That's a tough one because there's so many. I mean, you can't go with the Beatles or anything like that because McCartney and Lennon are both frontman, basically. They don't have an exact, lead singer per se. Daltrey was straight up the lead singer. The Stones and Mick Jagger, I guess you could say he acted a little feminine, so if you're going for the man route, then maybe not him. But I still think he has the most presence and charisma. And there's a lot of people that could compete with it, but I would have to go with him. Mick Jagger is probably, from that era at least, the best frontman. I know that's probably a cliche pick to go with, man, but once you watch him up there doing his thing and just like strutting back and forth, it's magic, dude. Absolutely magical. Man. Alright, so the next one. Stephen Stills is the most underrated guitarist and songwriter of all time. That would be Anna Kermode 6646, and also there was somebody else who said it as well. Oh yeah, Danny C8041 also said the same thing. So you guys think alike. Is Stills underrated? Because I thought Crosby, Stills, and Nash was huge back in the day. I thought they were absolutely huge. So, and I think Stills obviously, did a bunch of stuff afterwards too. We listened to some of his later works as well, and we listened to all of CSN, all the way up to CSN 77, which, man, you know what I'm saying? There's some gems on that album too, man. Stills, he's an absolute force of nature. Like, those three albums just right there alone, CSN, Deja Vu, and then 77. That's a hell of a run right there, just of those three. I know Stills did a lot of other stuff as well. But I don't know how underrated he is. Maybe nowadays people don't know Stephen Stills, which they absolutely should, and I didn't. until I did this channel and stuff. But as a songwriter and as a guitarist, I mean, like, good God, you really cannot get much better than Steven. I mean, in that voice, too. You know, you throw that in the harmony, of course, it's amazing. But him on his own, he's got a great set of pipes. He can just rip it on the guitar, too, and he can write. Like, he's a triple threat, dude. And he's a great frontman, too. He's a quadruple threat. You can't beat that, bro. So I cannot argue against that point. That is... I don't know, man. I don't think he was underrated back then, but he's definitely underrated now, which he shouldn't be. So that's my final answer for that one. Thank you for playing, guys. Y'all are the best. There was one more that I really, really liked. Steve Hackett is one of, if not the most underrated guitarist in history, due to the fact that he is never listed on people's top 10 or top 25 or whatever list. His artistry, musicianship, and dedication to his music is unmatched. His work as a solo artist, and most importantly, his work with Genesis, deserves more praise than he receives. That's Bonzo. Good God, Bonzo, I agree with you. I mean, how is he not on the top 25? I mean, seriously, like, you could just go through his solo stuff, and he's one of the most technically proficient guitarists I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of them, and he is utterly insane. You know what I mean? Like, he is utterly insane. And that's not even counting the songwriting. That's not even counting his work in Genesis. Just the solo stuff, like the Shadow of the Hierophant. Oh my God, bro. All the live stuff we did from, I think he did like Supper's Ready, or what else did he do? That we did some other stuff from that live concert that was this side of the millennium, and he blew me the fuck away. I mean, Steve Hackett is an absolute monster, bro. He absolutely is. But then if you add his work in with Genesis, just Selling England by the Pound alone, it's just utter magic. Him and Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford and Phil and Peter, you can't name them without all of them. They wove together some of the best art I've ever experienced in my life, just from that album alone. Man, you can talk about the way they went afterwards. I don't know. Everybody really, really likes the four-part album a lot. You know, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I like that album a lot, but it's not my go-to to listen to, you know? And I feel like Hackett was kind of sorely missing at points on that album, if that makes sense. And so is Peter. There's a lot of instrumental stuff, you know, even though Hackett, you know, obviously shines, but I feel like it was missing the crunch from the earlier albums. I mean, even like A Trick of the Tail Afterwards, which is just fire, bro. Absolute fire. Everyone was firing on all cylinders on that album. I guess maybe, you know, The Lamb didn't resonate. Lyrically, it resonated with me, but the rest of it, it's a lot. You know what I mean? I have to probably listen to it again, to be honest. But if you just take his solo stuff, yes, he is totally underrated. But if you add everything else in, too, oh my God, how is that man not on the top 10? Firth of Fifth, oh my God. There's some solos that Hackett does that they bring me to tears, bro. Like, just like those... They're not even sadness, it's like melancholy. He captures melancholy and freedom and like imagination through guitar so well. And I love him. He's definitely top 10 for me, guitarist wise. I can just see him in that. Was he in all white? I can't remember exactly, so I can't actually see it. But that concert where, you know, because I think he was sitting down. He likes to sit down a lot, I think, right? We watched him and it was in the 70s and they did Supper's Ready and all this stuff. And seeing them in their young prime, man, Genesis, one of a kind, bro. Absolute one of a kind. So I agree with you. He is totally underrated. Sorry if I went on. I love Genesis, so you know I gotta talk about that. Thank you, Bonzo. Okay, so the next one is P Crimson 1. Chris Squire is the greatest of all time of bass. No one better before or after. And then by the way, Bill Nelson. That's what I said as an example. When are we going to hit Modern Music Suite from Bebop Deluxe? Maybe soon, my friend. Thank you for reminding me. Chris Squire being the greatest of all time. Man. There's a lot of great bassists. And Chris, as I saw, I set up that in advance. You can just go by close to the edge. Chris, oh my God. But even the earlier Yes stuff, like, he is just so present in every last note that they play. He is so crucial to their sound that it's not even funny, bro. Chris Squire is Yes, you know what I mean? And obviously there's stuff that happened later in their career that people went different ways and such, and that such is business, such is life, such is music, you know what I mean? It just happens eventually. That was obviously an interesting situation, though. Greatest of all time. I don't know. There's another person on here who says John Entwistle is the greatest bassist of all time as well. Ox is great, but there's not many bassists who create the music like Chris does. Like, a lot of bassists just flow with the song and keep the rhythm going. Obviously, it's their job. But Chris, he stands out more than even the guitarist, which that's hard to do. You know what I mean? Steve Howe is an absolute beast, but Chris somehow outshines him. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to think. I'm wrapping my head. There's so many great bassists. But it is hard to argue that Chris isn't the greatest, man. He really does bring so much more than just the bass to the music. His vocals, his songwriting, when he gets the chance. I know John usually does a lot of it, but the instrumentation, I'm sure Chris, I think, has a huge hand in most of it, if not all of it. He is a genius, like total genius, and honestly, I'm going to have to agree. See, that's what I'm saying. I went through all these comments, and there's not ones that I can really disagree with you guys. You had some really good hot takes. Let's see what else we got. I already did a Genesis one, so I can't do another Genesis one. Mike Patton, who's from Faith No More, right, is the best vocalist of the past 35 years. That's Mark Flowers 885. Mike Patton's got a hell of a voice, and it's funny. I know him from the Dillinger Escape Plan. If you guys know who that band is, I highly doubt it, but he did an album in like 1999 or 2000 with the early concept version of Dillinger Escape Plan. More than likely, you're not going to like them. They are chaos. They are just noise. But Mike Patton brought this almost human touch to them that was unheard of. That album was insane vocally. He has such a range and such an ability to draw you into the song. Even the stuff I've heard from Faith No More, he is crazy, bro. His vocals, like, you're listening to the music doing its own thing, but man, like, his vocals stand out more than the music does, and that's hard to do with a band like Dillinger. I know you guys haven't heard that, so I'm not going to use it too much of a reference, but he outshines one of the best guitarists of the past 35 years as well on that album. And I haven't heard enough to say he's the best vocalist of the past 35 years, but he is definitely one of the best. I will say that from what I've heard. I got to hear more, though. If you got any suggestions, definitely leave them down below. I'd love to hear more from Mike Patton. There's a lot of great vocalists from the past 35 years, too. Like, you know, I shit on music from these days, but honestly, you can't trust anything from the past 15 years because of, like, auto-tune and such. And I know they've always had kind of enhancements to do to music and sound and stuff, but it really got bad over the past 15 years where the auto-tune totally took over, and you just cannot tell. And imagine where AI is going to go with it. Eventually, they're going to have AI singers. I think they already do, to be honest. They have AI actresses and actors. They're going to replace everything artistic with just cheap, generic slop from the internet. That's so sad to me, bro. Like, we're on the verge of losing, like, so much culture and history. Like, it's passed down to us. Like, the torch has been passed to my generation, and I feel like we're totally failing, man. You know what I mean? Like, we're totally failing what we're supposed to do to keep the culture alive and keep music going and growing, because there's endless things you can do with music. Nowadays, you know, everyone's going to say, you know, every riff has already been written, basically. It's been played 5 times over. It's been used. It's been reused. And you're just not thinking outside the box. Like, there's a lot of people that just combine subgenres these days, and they come out with things that are like, whoa, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I've heard some prog music from these days that incorporates a lot of classical at points. It incorporates country at points, and it's insane. I mean, like, there is some amazing music out there, but a lot of it has the screaming vocals in it, and that's a generational divide thing. I grew up with the screaming, so it's just, I love it. You know what I mean? It's just second nature to me. It doesn't, I understand them. You know what I mean? I come from a very angry generation, and for good reason. I think we've been told our whole lives that, you know, the future is ours, but then when you get to my age, you realize there ain't much of a future left. You know what I mean? At least in our country. You read the tea leaves, and yeah, you know, and it's not even me I'm worried about. I'm only worried about my daughter and what she's gonna do. Like, you know, it's hard for me to save money to, like, have a college fund for her when, like, my car breaks down. I gotta spend, like, $2,500 to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, life just happens. And I am not a wealthy man. And I think that's why you guys like me, because, you know, I'm just me, you know. Even if I had $1 million, I'd still just be me. Nothing could change that. I already had a ton of money when I was 21. And I was talking to someone about this earlier, and I spent like $100,000 in less than a year. I got it in June. It was gone by December, literally, and I had nothing to show for it but track marks, bro. And here we go. Now we're segueing into the 5 years clean part. I don't know, man. It's crazy to think that I didn't even remember today was the day. Cora had to remind me. I was like, oh yeah, it is that day, isn't it? Like, it's just second nature to me now, you know? And I'm totally glad that I've made it this far. And I hope that it continues that way. I have no interest in doing drugs. Like, I don't even think about it. Even when I have a really bad day, you know what I think about? I think about sleeping. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to go to bed, bro. I don't care how much I fought today or stressed out. Like, I just want to go to bed. That's just where it comes down to, you know? I don't have to put a needle in my arm or drink something or pop something just to make me feel me. Because I'm just me. You know what I mean? And, I'm very proud of myself for once, you know, and I'll give myself a pat on the back. I don't do it often because it goes to my head and then I get comfortable and then shit happens. So I usually just keep it moving. But I'm going to say today that I'm proud of myself that I've made it this far. And honestly, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know. I might still be clean. I might not. You know, being honest, I don't know. This channel has completely changed my life in every way imaginable. And it's all thanks to you guys. And thank you for giving me your comments. I'm going to be doing another one as well. Probably next week if you want to have a Let's Argue comment ready. You know, just I'll post it soon. And then I'll do another video in a week or two. And we'll argue. But honestly, I can't really argue against these. There was one more. That Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman are the best guitarist duo of all time. That's the one I'll leave you on. And then look, I set it up. It's behind me. How'd that work out? Oh, and then Ian Anderson is a underrated genius. Like, I've got even back burner questions. Man, I would... That's a hard one, bro. Combo? As a combo, yeah, Dickie and Dwayne are the best of all time, I say, as a combo. On their own, they're amazing, too, obviously, but... there's other guitarists on their own, like Jimi Hendrix and such, and Jimmy Page. Those are, I think, better individual guitarists, but them together... Hell yeah, bro. They are definitely the best duo, I think, of all time, guitarist-wise. And then Ian Anderson, he does not deserve... he does not deserve the shit he gets. He deserves all the flowers, all the praise. I've listened to almost every Jethro Tull album there is. Thanks to Cora and just like my own interest. They're amazing. And Ian... basically wrote everything, you know what I mean? Like, he wrote everything, and he wrote, and he wrote, and he wrote. That man just shit music, bro, and it was good. It was all really good. Obviously, there's a track here or there that isn't my favorite, but honestly, through and through, Jethro Tull has one of the most solid discographies I've ever heard in my life, and I've listened to most of it. Like, there's not a weak album. Like, there's tracks that are weak, but not a single weak album, in my opinion, and everyone's got their favorites, but yes, Ian, that's Cora who said that one. He is definitely underrated. He is a genius, and he deserves way more praise than what he gets. If anything, he's just known as the flute guy, which is so sad because the flute obviously is great, but it's not my favorite part of Ian. You know what I mean? It's his writing, his sarcasm, his wit, and his just innate knowledge of music and people. And he knows how to please. Like, he really does. He's an entertainer through and through, even on stage, live. Can't beat that. So there you go. That's like 10 of them, I think. I didn't count exactly. Thank you so much for playing, guys. Please, if you want to get your name read and another comment to argue with, get it ready. I'll post another one probably in the next day or two just to get it ready, and another flash request post since I've been doing more. Got some big videos coming. They're kind of longer the next couple days because I got some requests I got to do. So see you then. Thanks for watching, and thank you guys for your support. I know we've been going at this for a long time now. We got a really good community, and I'm so thankful for you guys. Hopefully y'all stick with me. I have a feeling you will. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.